On this day, 18 years ago, we all watched in horror as America was under attack. 9/11 changed us all on that day, including some soon-to-be military officers. WAY 31 news anchor Pat Simon introduces you to some of them who answered the call.
We felt this sonic boom as if it were an earthquake.
Paul Eichwurzel will never forget.
Unreal. How could this be happening? Who is doing this?
His first thoughts on the morning of the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
What happened? Is this an accident? Is this an attack? As the whole nation was in confusion at that moment.
It just collapsed there.
While the stunning images made most of us nervous, shocked, and angered, Eichwurzel, an Army cadet at the University of North Alabama, felt determined.
This is what I signed up to be as a soldier, is protect my country, protect my family, my neighbors, my community.
And he was not alone. Fellow cadet Mike Park remembers getting mentally focused for the inevitable.
As that picture becomes clear over time, it just reinforces your resolve of what you're doing. It's what you should be doing, at least in my mind.
So this is where it was all happening back there.
Yeah, for us.
That morning, their professor of military science arrived at the University of North Alabama's Wesleyan Annex after an early morning jog.
I was sitting there kind of going, stunned like everybody else.
While watching the attack on America, Lieutenant Colonel John Wright took a breath. And he felt a heavier burden as a leader of these future combat commanders. He remembers his challenge to them that morning as they prepared to answer their nation's call to service.
Obviously, we began processing, well, what's going to happen? And I went, okay, gentlemen, ladies, it's time to take this stuff seriously if you were not doing that before, because when you graduate and you are commissioned, you will be going to war against the enemies of the United States.
It was a call to action that young cadets Eichwurzel and Park would have to wait to answer. They had 2 more years before being commissioned as new Army officers.
The hard part was waiting on the sidelines if you were wanting to get in and make a difference.
Whatever lies ahead, I'm going to train hard. I'm going to give it all I have. I'm going to prepare and focus on whatever the mission may be.
Like most of us, 9/11 was personal for these cadets of Lion Battalion here on the campus of UNA. But what hit even closer to home for them was when they found out that one of their own was killed on that fateful morning.
Major Dwayne Williams, United States Army.
Major Dwayne Williams was only 40 years old, a devoted father and husband who was killed when the Pentagon was struck. The call to service now for these cadets was more than about securing our freedom, but there was now a face and a special bond that they were fighting for.
That was brought a real reality check that this is what we're going into. We're not everyone's best friend, or not everyone's our best friend. There are people with ill will, and we have to match that.
Anyone who's already committed to joining the military and has signed up and pledged their lives, you're already dedicated to our country. But when you see things like that happen, it just further drives that resolve of what you're doing is right and inherently good to help not only your country, your family, but the world.
Good picture there.
And now their military professor, who helped shape them into seasoned combat leaders during those times of doubt and despair, can sit back with pride.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely proud of them. They went and did things that I never would have thought of.
And almost 2 decades later,
Good to see you, Mike. Good to see you, man.
as they catch up about those days of uncertainty,
We had the same question.
there's one thing for certain. These warriors could have wavered, but they didn't.
They certainly had the opportunity, if they wanted to say, I don't know about this thing. But to their credit and to that generation's credit, they didn't let us down.
They stayed the course in the footsteps of their fallen soldier. And when our nation needed them the most,
may God bless the victims, their families, and America.
After our darkest day.
Makes clear there has been at least one
Pat Simon, WAY 31 News.
Those of us who cover this for a very
Along with Major Dwayne Williams, 9 other Alabamians lost their lives on 9/11, leaving behind husbands, wives, children, and loved ones.